Okay, where are we here? Let's see. Check, 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 check. Mic check. Camera check. Yeah. Hello, welcome. We're a little early today for the pre-show, but that's the way it is sometimes. And if any of you watched the vMix Fun Time live show last night, this may or may not be interesting. It all just depends. But if you didn't catch the vMix Fun Time live show last night, this may be interesting. It all depends. I don't mean to be cryptic, but yeah. I mean, essentially, since you're here, since it's just you and me for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the vMix Fun Time live show in its entirety. And I'm getting this little pop-up here. Yeah. Not quite sure how to get rid of it. It says I'm infected. I may have to do a scan. Let's see. It says my McAfee credit card was declined. Anyway, we're going to replay the vMix Fun Time live show, but we're also going to include the pre-show and a portion of the post-show, which you never get to see if you don't watch it live. If you watch it live, you get to see all that, but if you watch it after the fact, they just trim it down to the show, which I understand. So we will start the vMix Fun Time Live pre-show at the same time we normally start this pre-show, which is at 1:15. So coming up in just a few minutes, or just a minute, as the case may be, we will get started with that. Let's see. Let's monitor that, and can we move that away? Gee, many. Oh, there we go. That'll work. That'll work. So, yeah. So, and if you did watch the show last night, Heath did a really cool demo of a tutorial. It wasn't really a tutorial. It was sort of like, this is how I did this earlier. But it wasn't that tutorial in a tutorial sense. It was live. And so I thought it was really pretty cool, because I like live stuff. So yeah. So let's see, it is 1:15. So let's see, what are we going to do here? Let's just do the regular pre-show. I mean, the regular starting of the show. So the show's starting now, even though it's not starting now. It's starting in 15 minutes. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, now at least we know that part works. We actually changed this part up a little bit today. So this is actually not the shot that you were getting before. This is part of a mix. So I can do the, what do you call it? The merge function. So in just a minute, we'll do the merge function. But this is, let's cue this up right here. Yep, there we go. And let's do something else with vMix Social. 1 second. We got to get our ducks in a row. Sorry, you have to see all this behind the scenes stuff that you don't actually really see. We need to select the title, which is the new title there, and we need to refresh it. And so we're there and we're ready to go. And I think if I do this correctly, when I transition, it should start everything off. We will see. We will see. Are you ready? Let's try it.
Hello and welcome to the vMix Funtime Live Show, July 2024 edition. How'd I go?
That's it. That's where we are. That's the time and place that
Nailed
we
it.
currently are this month.
Good.
Yeah.
So, welcome. My name's Heath. This is Tim. And
I'm
we
Tom.
do a live show every single month. We're up to 8 years of excellence now. So, yay.
We finally made it.
And we talk about vMix. vMix is the software that we make here, and we show you how it can be used and talk about the things that are going on with it, talk about stuff in the live streaming space, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so what we do is we do a live show on YouTube and we take comments from everybody and then we kind of just clip the actual show itself and upload that to YouTube. So if you're watching that later on, that's currently what you're watching. If you're watching us live, then you get things like the pre-show. You get a montage intro song that we write for each month via AI, which is always exciting. And sometimes we have giveaways and that type of thing. So if you wanted to join us live, you can usually follow us on Facebook to see when we post about this live show.
Definitely follow on Facebook.
We had a live giveaway this morning. Haven't actually given the license away. Might do that a little bit later.
I mean, they have now.
After the show. So that if you're watching it after the show, you don't feel bad.
Thank you, Dave.
So you might also hear a doorbell go off. We are waiting on some packages and things. So we've rigged up the doorbell to sound in the studio. So hopefully that goes off at some point during the show and we can rush out to grab it because someone didn't show up for work today. So,
Yep. All right. If you've got any questions, comments, or total nonsense, please pop it into the chat and we will get to it if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, well, you can put your comments in and we might get to them by responding in the chat later. But we really encourage you, if you're watching live, to chuck them in there. We'll get to the end of the show and that's where we will try to answer those and talk to those. Alrighty, let's have a look at what the show setup looks like this month. As usual, it is the same sort of setup as before. We've done a minor update where we've actually said that we're going out at ultra low latency this month. So we're doing 1080p 5994 at 7 megabits per second. So that's what we're streaming out to YouTube. We're doing that by via our computer, which is an i9-10900X with an RTX 4080 graphics card in it. And we've got an AJA Corbett 44 capture card that's bringing our cameras in. So that's how the cameras are coming to us. The main one that we use is the Blackmagic Ursa Mini G2. And the secondary camera is a Sony PXW-Z90. That just looks over our shoulder so that we can show things if we've got things in our hands. We've got two Deity S Mic 2s, which are hovering above us. And Tim is bringing the whole social in via a Microsoft Surface. So he'll be bringing the social comments in and we'll be responding to those a bit later. So get those comments in. All right, let's go to our first segment of the day.
Do you still hear the echo? I hope you don't. The idea is, I had it playing in the studio.
vMix news. All right, so the first piece of news that we have for today is
somebody didn't reset the
trade shows, it would seem.
You have to go back to the start now.
I don't know, it'll cycle through.
They can't blame it on me.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So we didn't even need to bring up that something was wrong there. So we had a segment that was going to go through 3 news pieces. We're still going to go through 3 news pieces, but we're going to start at the back. So IBC. IBC is coming up. It's the 13th to the 16th of September. And last month, I gave you some dodgy information. Fortunately, one of our commenters fixed it. But this month, I'm getting it right by grabbing a sample of the map, straight out of the map of IBC. And there we are right there in Hall 6. We're in 6.A12. That's us right there. So you can't miss us. If you can get to Hall 6, you are going to find us. Nailed it. Okay.
And that's in Amsterdam, by the way.
Intel. So for those that have been keeping up with the news over the last few months, the Intel 13th and 14th gen PC CPUs, the desktop CPUs, had a few issues. You might have noticed in the news. They have released a statement yesterday or the day before saying that there will potentially be, they think they've worked out what the issue is, which is some kind of voltage controller or something. They believe they've worked out what the potential issue is, and they're working with manufacturers and whatnot to be able to roll out a BIOS update at some
Motherboard
point
manufacturers.
for this. They think mid-August. So if you've got a, what are they? Is it 13900K, or I can't remember which ones they are.
13s and 14s.
Or whichever ones they
900s
are,
and 700s.
13th and 14th gen Intel chips.
But the
keep your
900s
eye out for that,
were
'cause
worse.
You may want to update your BIOS to prevent any sort of issues with those chips. So that's something to keep in mind. If you've been following this, like I said, a couple of days ago, they've kind of announced an update that hopefully they've found a fix for it, which is good.
It's very good.
They have.
It's
They're
very good
basically
because
disabling the
our
E-cores
users
in some of
typically
them.
use high-end CPUs, so that sort of is out. That's right in our hitting zone.
Yes, so we're not quite sure how all that's going to work. People have asked questions in the chat and different places saying, well, what's going to happen if you potentially degraded your CPU already? Like, I'm not sure what the exact cause will be, or whether they'll really ever, disclaim what happened or what's happening. So yeah, keep your eye out for that in the news and see whether they actually release an actual fault, or whether you've potentially degraded your CPUs or not, or whether this BIOS is going to fix it. And yeah, keep your eye out for it.
And it doesn't affect the
All right, last
the
bit of
i7s.
news is from X. So X
As much as the
updated
i9s.
us as a global us a few weeks ago that they were going to be changing how you live stream to their platform. And
Twitter.
Basically, what it means is if you're streaming from a service like vMix or any other streaming software into X to do your live streams, you now need a premium account. Now, to add to that, it needs to be a premium account. And I know that sounds very confusing.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that sounds very confusing. But if you go
We need one of those.
pay for an X account, you have 3 premium options. They are basic, premium, and premium plus. You need to be
the red.
yarn,
yarn,
you
like
need
the
red
string.
yarn. Yes,
yeah, behind us on the wall. That's
exactly.
what we should
So basically,
that up.
what you need is not a basic account. We believe you need a premium account, at least. And in addition to that, by doing that, you need to be verified, and that can take time. So we've confirmed all this with our own account. We've now got a premium verified account.
now got a blue
just to
check
confirm
mark.
this. We've got a blue check mark next to our name, and we can live stream. But up until then, we weren't able to. So there you go. If you're streaming to X, you will need to meet those conditions, or stream to a different provider if that doesn't suit your needs.
Yep. So
yep.
just because it says you need a premium account, there's basic, premium, and premium plus when you pay for an account with X. The basic one gives you a few extra features, nothing to do with live streaming. Then you move to the middle one, which gives you the media producer, I think it's called, gives you the option to live stream. However, you can't actually do that until you're verified, which is a part of the premium plan. So we tried it. We signed up, tried to use the live streaming, couldn't work, and then it took like 2 days, I think, for it to be verified, like over the weekend for that verification to kick in. So if you were looking to stream right now to Twitter, and you need the premium account, but it will take a little while for that to all get sorted. So yeah, and I do believe that you can't actually live stream even from like to create it and to create a stream key. You will also need to have that premium account because you just can't connect to it. So even if you're using a software encoder like vMix to use the API to connect to it, log in directly from our interface, you are still potentially going to need the premium if you just want to copy and paste that stream key instead of using the API. So hopefully that made some sense.
If you think that us saying premium is confusing, I agree.
Yeah, so premium verification just to be able to get API and also potentially the stream key. So I tried it with the stream key before we had premium verification, and then we weren't able to actually connect using the stream key. So yeah, I'm not sure whether you can do it from the phone and that type of things. You may be able to do it.
Maybe.
Because we've already gone through this process, we can't really backtrack from it. So you may be able to go directly from your phone or something, but if you want to use a stream key, if you want to use a software encoder or the API, you're going to need a premium account and wait for the verification to be able to use it. So yeah, due to all of this, like all of the stuff going on with just trying to work out how to use it, we may need to look at not having like functionality for X in the future potentially, because it's becoming
by
a little bit
functionality,
difficult.
I think we mean like API.
Just
access.
API, yeah. You'd still be able to use a stream key option,
custom
but you would still also need premium with verification.
That's right.
To use the stream key.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah.
Glad we cleared that up.
Thing.
It has.
The tweets from the X live Twitter handle, I think that's what it's called, @live, I think. Don't quote me on that. Don't go looking for that. But I think that's what it is. And they just said, like Heath said a few weeks ago, they said that they're looking to make it premium only. And then they announced on I think it was the 17th or something, that it was premium only now, but no information as to what level of premium you need in order to get live streaming.
So hopefully we've made that as clear as mud for you. And yeah, have a crack if that's what you need.
Have a crack.
If you're already streaming to X, you probably already have a premium account because you're verified, because that's it. I think you need premium to get verified. So anybody with a blue check mark could probably theoretically already stream.
Probably met the prerequisites.
Yes.
There you go.
All right.
As long as they're premium.
Next segment.
vMix fun time. It's vMix time. vMix
Love the music.
Education time.
All these singers they hired.
vMix fun time. Education time.
Heath rocking
I
out.
like that one. All right, we are going to do a very quick education segment. So what I've done is I have set up a second computer, and I'm going to show you how to
Oh, this is good.
create.
Where's your disclaimer?
I'm going to.
Where's my disclaimer?
Okay. First disclaimer is this was not Tim's idea. This was Heath's idea, written and spoken by Heath Barker from somewhere. All right. Okay. This is what we're going to very quickly create. So I'm going to do a quick education on how to set up this social title, which is what we're going to be using today. So here we go. Let's go into a secondary system that I've got set up here. And I'm going to quickly show you how I set up this social title.
This is cool.
So we're going to start with some content. Here we've got I've got a picture that I used, which was something that I got commercial license access to.
There you go.
And
Paint.net.
it is, and I've opened that up in Paint.net. And in here, basically in Paint.net, I grabbed this section through here and made it semi-transparent. And I'm not going to do that in the program because it takes a little bit too long to demonstrate, but this is the final result. So here you can see that we've got some transparency in there, but you can also see that I've kept, it is semi-transparent. So I've kept a bit of that sort of veneer around the edge and things like that. All right, now next step was to set up a piece of paper to print our social title. And here it is here, and it's just a nice dot matrix paper. And the other things that I need for my title are, I've just got a placeholder avatar that I'll be using, and that will be replaced with each person that chats to us on social. And finally, I've got a dot matrix font so that I get that nice, cool font look. Okay,
Except I didn't
let's
do the
open up
fonts.
GT Title Designer, and I will show you how to build this real quick. So we're going to start from the beginning, and the first thing that I'm going to do is set up my canvas to be 4K. Now, the reason I'm doing this is so that I've got a little bit of extra real estate to zoom in on the shot when I want to, and I won't have too much resolution degradation. Okay, so I'm going to add my background image, which is this one here. There we go, I've got my background image all done. Next thing I'm going to do is rename this to just background. I'll call it BG, that'll do. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is add a piece of paper. So to do that, I want to do that on a new layer, and I'll explain why in a minute.
This is important.
So I've got a new layer. I'm going to bring in that piece of paper. I'm going to pop it over in position, roughly resize it. There we go. That will do. Position it as close as I can get it. Doesn't need to be perfect for the demonstration anyway. Okay, I've got my piece of paper, and so what I want to have happen is I want this paper to travel up out of the printer to reveal the print.
Yes.
And so to do that, firstly, I'm going to have some content. So let's add some content. We're going to add a text field up here. We're going to call that.
This is the cool part.
Dear vMix. Oh, using the wrong keyboard. Get rid of that. That's going to catch me. That's going to catch me. So
I do that all the time.
okay. Dear vMix. And all right, we will set this font up. So as I said, we have a special font for this purpose that I downloaded. The font was available for commercial use. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Don't go using fonts that you haven't got rights to. Setting to 72 so it's nice and big. We'll make it nice and wide. And I'm going to center that. So I've centered that so that it's right in the middle. And then I'm just going to make a bunch. Oh, maybe I'll color it as well. So we'll make it gray, because no dot matrix printer I know has ever printed pure black. We're going to copy this. So copy, and I'm going to paste. So I've now got 3 versions of it, and I'm going to bring one down. This is going to end up being our message field. And this one's, yep, that'll do. This one is going to end up being for the name of the person commenting. So in here, I'll just write name. In here, I will write message. And so I'm going to just order these. I'm going to rename this to Dear vMix. Oh. Keyboard's a little bit wacky. Most importantly is naming these correctly. This makes life a lot easier later. So this one should be called message at all times, and this one should be called from name. This will allow the vMix social program to map the message and from name correctly to what is coming through from the social titles, from vMix social rather. And the last thing I'm going to do is put in that avatar. So bring that in, here it is, and I will set that to 200 by 200. Get it nice and accurate as a perfect square. So here we go, putting the avatar in place. We've got our name. We will name that from photo. Again, this is an important title to use, and that will allow it to map as well. So here's all our elements. They're all sitting under a layer. And so to have this whole layer move up and out of the printer, I can now go to animations.
Hey, John.
And the way animations work is you have an in and an out phase. It's shown here basically, in followed by out. Now what we want is to change how the data change in and out actions work. So I'm picking data change in because that's the first thing that we want to have happen. And the first thing we want to have happen is we want the old page to move away. So I'll just have that fly off the screen. And on the second, on the data change out, we want that to have the new page, the new message, to appear out of the printer. So we're starting with data change in, and I'm going to use fly. I'm going to leave as many settings as default as possible. And I'm just going to pick the arrow up here. And this, I'll show you, will make it fly out. So that's step 1. The next step is to do step 2, which is to bring in the new page. So this is the data change out, or the second phase. We're going to do the fly again, We're going to fly that up from the bottom. And I'll show you what that looks like. So this is it flying up from the bottom.
There it goes.
Now, it doesn't make sense. It's not coming out of the printer yet.
I love this next trick.
Imagine that it was. Here's the full flow. You're going to have the first page go away, second page come up. So that's working.
Not that.
Everything looks like it's working correctly there for us.
This.
The way that I'm going to fix this little problem that we've got with the page coming up out of nowhere is to add another image on a new layer. So
of course,
plus on the layer. I'm going to add a new image, and I'm going to put that same printer shot in right over the top. So it's covered everything. And then I'm going to adjust this layer and bring down the top so that we reveal right to the point where the paper is. That'll do.
Love it.
And now we've got our it's effectively operating like a mask. So I'll lock that and I'll show you what it looks like now. So now we've got our paper going off and our new print coming out. There we go.
Brilliant.
Okay, so we will save this as a, let's not save it to a OneDrive.
No.
Let's save it into our assets folder. We'll call it social. And now we'll go to vMix, and here we are. Hi. And we're going to add that social title. So I've gone to add input, I've gone to title, and I've gone to recent. The beauty of vMix having a recent section means that anything that you've most recently done in GT Title Designer is going to appear right here. So I'm picking the social title, I'm clicking OK. And here we've got all of our elements. Now I've got Dear vMix here, so I can edit that if I want to. I've got my message and I've got my name. The last things that we need to do,
show us the image.
Bring the camera into this shot. And what I want to do is give it a bit of a green tint and give it sort of an old school look. So the first thing I'll do is change our camera look. And the way I'm going to do that is rather than adjusting the actual camera, I'm going to make a virtual copy of it. So I right click on the settings of this input and I click on create virtual input. From here, I can go to the settings of this input, go to color correction, uncheck the use source settings because I want to change these settings rather than use what the original was.
That's right.
And I'm going to pull the saturation down to 0. Well, actually -1, as little as possible. So it's really gray. And the last thing I will do in terms of color editing is I'm just going to boost all the green and knock out some of the other colors. So I'll take these back a bit. That'll do. Punch this up a bit. Nice and bright and gross. And now we can underlay this. So to underlay it on this social title, I'm going to need a blank input to work with. So I'm going down to the little tiny triangle next to add input.
Combine everything together. Don't do it in the individual ones.
From here, we can start creating a layered scene. So I'll go to settings.
A layered scene.
From here, I'm going to layers.
Sounds like
towards the top, because the layer 10 is the very, very foreground and layer 1 is the very background. So anything on layer 1 will be hidden by anything above it. So we'll start at the top and we're going to put in the social title. So we've got that over the top of everything. And then somewhere down the bottom, it doesn't really matter where I put it. For this particular shot, I'm picking the main camera. I like to put it like 4 or 5. So I've got the main camera and it's got a giant version of Tim in it right now. Sorry, not the main camera. My apologies. We're picking the virtual camera because it's the one that's nice and green.
There you go.
And now we're just going to edit that position. So I've got a couple of different ways of editing that. I can click edit and manipulate it in the position settings, or I can use the layer editor by clicking on it and then working with the pull corners and these here. So I'll just adjust the Y value, bring it up. I'm doing this kind of rough just to be fast, but
you're fine.
There we go. That sort of centered us. And now we've got all of the elements done. Let's put this into the output because it needs to be in the output in order to do its action. And let's take a look at how it operates. So here we've got the content. I will edit something in here to trigger the on data change event. So I might just put some dots or something like that, 1, 2, 3. And there we go. We've got an updated social
Brilliant.
title ready to roll. So that's how
Brilliant.
I built our social title for today.
Well done.
Hopefully
Keith.
that showed you some interesting things that you haven't seen before. Let's go back to our studio PC to actually use it.
Yeah.
And let's also go into our Q&A section.
There you go.
And we're back. And this might look slightly different because it's the original version of this, not the one that I just built. So this is the one we prepared earlier, I guess you'd say. Yep, ding dong. I think that was in response to
the doorbell.
The doorbell? Definitely heard the doorbell, as did my dogs, and now they're convinced we're being attacked. I love it. Thank you, Dave. Dear vMix, we just finished producing 83 hockey games in a 10-day period. Wow. So I missed out on all the Prime Day sales. Yeah. Well, I don't feel like you missed too much, at least not in Australia, but
I didn't see anything.
if you can feel it, chase it. That's a statement, Maggie. That is quite a statement.
Maggie.
Go see Twisters. Here's some more sporting information. This is from earlier.
Surely the boomers would be too old to beat them.
Mm-hmm. So that's in reference to my USA Olympic basketball team comment from earlier, that Australia might be able to beat them. They probably won't. Well, they definitely won't, but surely they'll give them a run for their money. Australia does have some old players. They have some young players, but Paddy Mills, he always shows up for FIBA tournaments, like international tournaments. So he'll be scoring 30 points a game, so that'll work. And some more sports talk.
Oh, yeah?
Bronny James is taking the Lakers to the promised land. I saw him hit that 1 3-pointer the other day, so let's
I
go,
don't think
Bronny.
so.
All right.
Some other exciting comments. When's Martin going to be on the show live? Martin is currently working remotely, so
Probably
he's
in
not
Florida.
the show area at the moment. I'm sure he'll show up at IBC.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might see him at IBC. He is going to be at IBC, so you might see him on the show. So that is in September.
We use Suno to generate the lyrics. As we mentioned in the last live stream, we're trying to...
I want to jump on that. We generate the lyrics to some degree ourselves.
Oh, to write the jingle. Yeah.
Yes. Suno makes the song and
Suno.
does the hard bit.
Mm-hmm. But it is quite weird. Somebody said that everything seems to be offbeat. So basically, you can use these things, but to get it right, you have to create like 200 songs just to get the one you like, and even then, you don't necessarily get the one that you want.
But for music non-professionals such as ourselves,
yes,
it's the only way to fly.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, we wouldn't be using. We're only doing this because we can. We wouldn't actually ever use like music, like created music. So we're only doing it for fun. I feel like we're not kind of taking things away from the creative industry because we're kind of just doing this because we can. We wouldn't actually be paying somebody to write music for us.
That's right.
We're only doing it for fun.
And we already pay for a subscription to get content such as the video segments that you see and things like that.
And music.
And that's normally where we would get our music from. But the fact that we can now get personalized music is just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So using the Stream Deck with vMix, there is video that we made talking about how to use it with vMix using the shortcut. Some people prefer to use things like Companion or Central Control. And there's plenty of videos about those as well.
Got to get the plug-in.
No real tips on it. Basically, press a button to do something. And
so
that's
the tip would be get the plugin. If you haven't got the vMix plugin running on Stream Deck, then it's going to be hard to use it to start with unless you're using an alternative software to tie it into vMix, which is also possible. But the vMix plugin is nice and simple. So it's free. You can get it on the Stream Deck store. Is there a setting to enable replays to export with the source color correction applied? The only way that you'll be able to achieve this is if you route through your output. So if you're routing through your output and not replaying a particular camera, then that will pick up all of the color correction, all of the elements that you do, because the output is a fully rendered finished product. hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, reach out to us at support@vmix.com and I can give you a bit more
Or
of
you
a
could
rundown
just
on how that
copy all
works.
your settings.
So, yeah. Just let me keep looking. There you go. Another one.
You don't face your fears, you write them. Yep. So for those not aware, Twister seems to be a pretty hot topic at the moment,
Twisters.
and Twisters particularly. Before the show started,
sequel.
we had a bit of a chat about Twisters. So why not reference some fun quotes? Tim, you need to stand up to Heath.
Heath is the alpha.
An Obsidian/Diamond classic PC with modern motherboard having 3 or more PCIe by 16 by 8 slots.
Ooh.
I know that's what people are looking for.
So are we.
So are we. Believe me, it's one of my main jobs to try and keep on top of hardware that can be used for vMix, especially in that high-end space. And it is very, very difficult to come up with a very good solution.
Graphics
But we
cards
are making levels of progress.
get in the way.
Who knows? Down the track, I could have a system to propose to you guys. What I will share is that at the moment I'm looking at Threadripper systems. So they are expensive, but they certainly offer some of the benefits that we're looking for, especially in those PCIe
Especially for the
slots and
high-end
PCI
stuff.
lane support. So stay tuned. How do we use automated weather alerts when we use data sources to trigger the overlay?
Good question.
I'm not sure I fully understand. So, what do you reckon? What do you reckon?
What do I reckon?
That, yeah.
How do we use automated weather alerts when we use data sources to trigger the overlay? Are you referring to like updating a XML or a spreadsheet or something, and when there's a data change on that,
Right.
then triggering it on the overlay? Is that what it means?
That's what I'm not 100% sure. Redbird 2010. So you might need to just give us a little bit more information. What you mean by weather alerts, how they're coming in, and whether your data source is, where's that coming from? So,
anything else you'd like?
If you've got,
you
That question
personally.
assumes
Personally,
facts,
just
not
generally?
In
opinions.
general, yeah.
in general, it's been a fun, busy week, and looking forward to IBC in it's about 8 weeks away now, so it's getting close.
Good question. Here.
Can vMix run on an AliX handheld PC? So I would say that if the
Is it an
handheld
ARM
PC
processor?
is running your run-of-the-mill Windows and has a fast CPU, then it will run. How well will it run? That really depends on the
I'm
hardware.
going to jump in and say
Go for it. I don't know what an AliX
because
handheld is.
probably it's an Ally X.
Okay.
I think I don't remember who makes them. It's similar to a Steam Deck. So I'm not quite sure whether it's an ARM-based. I'm pretty sure it's ARM-based, but again, we've been into this whole ARM-based thing, and we always get it wrong. So if it's ARM-based Windows, probably won't work. I think maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair to say.
Don't quote us on it. If you've already got one, try and install it, but it probably won't work. Is my suggestion.
Even if it does work with ARM, things like vMix AVI and some of the special codecs and things won't be available to you, I would say.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What else have we got here? Sorry, I'm just reading this. You can go down and check for the...
Try to get to the good
packages.
ones.
I haven't heard the doorbell.
Well, I'm not sure whether the doorbell's going to... Like, the sensor is through, like, 2 walls and a floor.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know whether
Actually,
it'll stretch
it's a
this
shame
far.
that it didn't go off on the show.
It is kind of annoying.
Yeah. I would have liked to we went to great effort, as those joining us on the post show would know. We went and got the doorbell and brought it, the doorbell ringer, and brought it into the studio.
We missed
just
that
for this
part.
purpose, so that hopefully it would ring during the show.
And then Tim dropped it.
Okay. Oh, can we do reverse version where it starts from off screen and on data change it comes on screen for X seconds, so it's default on screen not showing? You can absolutely reverse these things.
Absolutely.
I would have to run a few tests to see how it handles things staying off screen. You might find that it just appears again or something like that. So I would just suggest play around. I thought it was important to demonstrate the on data change in and on data change out, because it does confuse people sometimes how they work. But once you understand or wrap your brain around the idea that the in is the first step and the out is the second step, and for a social title, the in means clearing away the old data and the out means bringing in the new data. Once you've got those principles down, you kind of get the hang of how to use it.
An AMD.
It's an AMD CPU. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, sorry, I misread.
I'm not sure what it is or how it works, so I'm not sure.
There is a chance that it will work. Bear in mind that the CPU probably can't run at a high clock speed for a long period of time without melting. And so if that thing doesn't have base clock speeds over 2 gigahertz, and base clock speeds are like the lowest that they can go to, then it will probably suffer with vMix.
All right, last question for now.
What hardware are you waiting for from Amazon? At the moment, we're waiting on some new M.2 SSDs. So
Trying them all.
We're giving a few a go at the moment.
You got to catch them all.
New toys.
We're currently using
yes.
the Pokemon
Approach.
method of trying to create new computers. So try them all.
Got to try them all. Yep. Yeah. So we're looking into the best SSDs at the moment.
Interesting.
So, we've noticed a general trend in SSD long-term performance going down. And so we're looking at the ones that have better ongoing sustained performance. That's all. Yeah. Cool. All right.
You can leave this.
Interesting to hear more on that.
Do you want to go here?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Hey,
There
we've
we
got a
are.
nice tidy shot now. Not that horrible green. Tim was a big fan of that green. Yes.
Sure was.
Okay.
Awkward silence.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming to the show. If you came live, after the show, we will be drawing from the hat who is the winner of
Maybe.
the
I don't think
vMix
I'm
Pro
logged in
license.
on this, so maybe not on the show.
You might have to run away and do it
Yeah,
or something.
maybe not on the show.
No, run away and do it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And if you're watching this after the show, feel free to leave a comment and say hi. We may get to it in the post comment review.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, thanks for coming this July. Any further
Nope, that's all.
last comments? No.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks, guys.
If you have any support questions, email us as well. Any
Wait.
questions, just drop us an email.
Wait, I have
Bye.
a question.
Thanks for watching. We gotta go.
Hold on. They're coming back for
This has
post
been
show.
the vMix Fun Time Live Show.
Could you describe them as quirky, as eccentric? But, here in the U.S., I guess, it's different for Australians.
Hello. Welcome back, everybody.
They're back.
Yep.
Yep.
So they're receiving RSS feed from the National Weather Service.
Got it. Okay.
They're trying to
All right.
trigger the overlay based on the data change in the RSS feed.
Yeah, well, so long as they're referencing the same cell and that cell can be changed, then the data will change in the
Yeah,
in
if
that
there's a data
particular
change
field.
in
Yeah.
and out, if you
Yep.
set that in the
That's it.
title that you've created.
Yep. So the things you need to have happen is have the cell change or the data itself change that the social title is referencing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is to just set up the triggers basically like I demonstrated in the show today. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that was
So
a good
that demonstration
actually,
took.
sorry, I'm just trying to think. If
No, you're
they're
right.
trying to use the data source on data change to do something, it won't trigger an overlay, I don't think. If they
Really?
want the overlay to come back in again or something like that, so they don't have the overlay on,
Oh, I see.
and then they go, oh, it's currently 25 degrees. They take away the overlay, and then when it adjusts to 26, there's not going to be a way to do data change
Yep.
to trigger the overlay to come back on.
So a data change
I think
won't
that's
trigger.
what they're potentially
Okay.
asking. Is that what you're asking?
We can look into this a little bit more for you and support at vmix.com.
There isn't a
but-
data source.
But I don't. Yeah, it's possible
Change.
we don't have a solution for that one, and you might need to refer to some really high-end scripting. I say high-end because I'm not a pro coder or anything like that. So, so it's probably quite complex what you're looking for. Sorry. All right. Now I thought I'd ask after the show. Be completely honest with me. Was the little education space segment on how to set up a social title, was that helpful? Was that something that you want to see on a semi-regular basis, or would you prefer that we get to your comments and just chat about the hot topics around the live streaming space? Be honest. I don't really get offended by stuff much, so always happy to know.
Yeah, he does.
But
Always happy
Behind
to
the
know.
scenes, he's always upset.
Always happy to know. Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
No, it would. Yeah.
People would
definitely
love
like
to
get-
see SRT education.
SRT Education Live. Oof. Yeah, okay. I actually did an SRT demo way back when we dropped the SRT audio updates to get all of your audio on different PID channels. And so I did a Facebook live stream about that as part of a Petrol Price Live, I think.
Huh.
That was pretty risky.
Petrol Price Live.
It worked
Those
out,
are on
but
Fridays.
it was quite hard to demonstrate. Yeah, SRT is a very complex thing to demonstrate, mostly because the hardest parts of SRT are probably more the port forwarding and handling that stuff. And the reason that's hard to demonstrate is because port forwarding varies on how you do it, depending on the router, the equipment you have. So demonstrating it one way on one network won't necessarily teach anybody how to do it unless they've got the exact same conditions. So it's quite a
That's
hard
right.
thing to demonstrate. That's all. But you never know. All right.
Do you have a regular social title? It doesn't have that crazy one.
Just a regular run-of-the-mill social title?
Mm.
Do you want me to open one? Why?
Oh, well, you can put the green one up if you want. It's just that you can't really answer questions from here.
Oh, I see. Oh, and you just don't like this one? Is that what you're saying?
I
It
mean,
is. Without saying it, that's exactly what
you
you're saying.
didn't use the Zoom with the audio either.
I did
Missed a
not.
treat.
I did
We'll
not.
have to
But
do
that
it
was
now. Do it
because
now.
you were very involved. I felt.
Ah.
All right. So you would have heard a nice little dot matrix noise. So we've still got this one, but okay.
Zoom in.
Zooming
try.
in. Yes, I will personally answer this question.
Did the
And
audio
it wasn't a
work?
question. I hope that you got to hear that fun little dot matrix noise. It should be nice and quiet. Sorry, I just need to clear my throat. Yeah, so I will try and keep them short. Was that too long? And I'm, again, not going to be offended if that was a bit too long. I can try and keep them a bit more snappy. I wanted to cover a lot of topics, just
That wasn't
as
too
quickly
long.
as I could, but I can try and reduce the number of topics and keep it to a little bit more simplified.
That was good.
Yeah, could you do one on the page 1 and page 2 functions of the titles, please? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Pages are incredibly useful if you've got complex titles. So, yeah, yep. Heath heads untie.
Rich,
2 right. Or unite. Either or.
you missed everything.
The demo was nice.
The demo was nice.
Cool. Okay, that's good. Obviously, I'm never going to be able to do a demo perfectly live. That's the beauty of doing these training videos. We can
That's the
edit
beauty
and,
of it.
make it as snappy as possible and
Those
don't
are the
waste your
problems
time.
we run into.
Yep. Good. You like the dot matrix? It's very nostalgic to me. I remember printing off assignments on dot matrix printers, and yeah, I love that
We
sound.
had a
Hang on, we'll punch it again. Yeah.
I had an old employer that used to do all of back when I was in school working for the minimum wage. We had an employer that would print out all of our pay slips on a dot matrix printer.
Nice.
So you're like 100 people. And so if you were working at that point where they were printing them all out, I think it was a Tuesday morning or something, it would just be like 100 of them all at once. And this was wasn't even that long ago. I mean, I'm old now, but like to the point where laser printers should, have been a thing. Jet printers, inkjet printers should have been a thing. So it was very strange.
I was looking for image assets of dot matrix printers. So it naturally started with a Google, and I stumbled on an Epson website that had their dot matrix printer. And it was like, if you're looking for high speed, high quality printing, this is your printer. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah,
So
it
you
sure
could
is.
pre-record one. I told you we could have pre-recorded one.
Yes, yeah. Tim did say that I could pre-record one. I didn't for 2 reasons. One, I'm a little bit lazy, and 2, I was concerned that you wouldn't want to watch a pre-recorded segment on a live show.
Exactly.
As in, you didn't come for that? I don't know. Give me some
You're
feedback
right.
on that. I could
Good inclination.
absolutely pre-record something and then trim it up and make it nice and snappy.
Nah,
If that's what
do it live.
Let's see
Show
if
your
we can-
mistakes.
It would take a bit of pressure.
Show
off
your
you,
work.
but, yeah. If you watch the beginning of the June 15, 2023 severe weather outbreak as it happened, you'll see in the top right, they use vMix. Yeah, okay, all right.
I have no idea what this channel is, but apparently it's Ryan Hall, apparently.
Okay,
Don't know.
yep. I am concerned that without scripting, you may not be able to pull this particular task off. And we've said it before, but scripting isn't something we provide too much support on because it really requires you to have an understanding of how to code. And that's not something we're going to teach you. Sorry.
Yeah. So all of these, so the thing is that like we already have done like 300 videos,
Training videos
on all of this stuff. So it's all on YouTube. But the problem is that like, it's so hard to, somebody's like, oh, I think I kind of need to do this thing. How do you go about like indexing that and creating enough like searchable content for someone to kind of narrow down what they're looking for?
Yeah.
It's called data change in and out. Sure. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
So like how do make title move when something changes?
Yes. Yeah.
Is the search term I would use.
Yep.
But trying to actually fit that into a YouTube description or title, it gets a little bit hard. So the live ones are good. I just, don't want to annoy people if it's repetitive content and stuff.
Yeah.
We could always remind people and say, hey, look, this is how you do this. You can check out other YouTube videos and stuff. But
Yep. Cool.
I don't know whether this is a
Live
question.
is good for possible questions. How
How to use camera.
to use camera. So,
You can check out our videos. There's a recorded video on vMix inputs.
So,
using cameras.
yeah, if you're asking how to bring a camera into a vMix production, yep, it's definitely a very searchable thing on Google. Just search vMix add camera, and you'll get a hit on that. If I don't know if you're asking about adding the camera to the social title, well, I hopefully demonstrated that well enough. Go back and watch the YouTube video when we upload it a little bit later, if needs be.
It's the beauty of give and take.
That sounds like a fun concept for a whole live show, a call-in vMix how-to show. Oh yeah, I'd be up for that because I don't need to do any preparation. I just rock up with a computer running vMix and we just go for
Exactly.
The issue is that with that is that
Yeah.
like you have to have a completely blank setup.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
That-
any sort of personal
No.
stuff gets.
it. Well, that's
A
what I'm saying.
second PC.
We just do basically what I did today, set up a
Exactly.
secondary computer.
And you need like everything on there that you could possibly want to tackle, like
Uh,
images, video files, 4K, 60.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's kind of manageable.
titles, image sequences, MOVs, image sequences, like all that kind of stuff. So you have to have like a
I don't think
giant
Tim wants
folder
to do
of
it.
all potential
Yeah,
multiverse.
I like it.
options
I like it.
for it.
Angus, I'm thinking that a future show down the track, who
We-
knows when, we will give this a crack.
There's some other software and hardware encoding companies offer live tutorials.
Exactly, yeah.
Now I don't know how live they are or how that actually works because I've never signed up for it,
Mm.
but they do offer that. We have one almost live. It's on our YouTube channel, but yeah, apparently they offer live ones. So if you want to start offering live tutorials in your downtime, then you could do that. I mean, you could just be sitting at that computer, uninstalling and reinstalling hard drives and graphics cards and capture cards, and just have a laptop on the side answering questions as they
Exactly.
come in. You know, while running 4-hour tests on a particular SSD, you
yeah.
could be also doing
Mm.
live call-in tutorials from our lab.
I think better
Done.
than that is doing a live call-in show on our live show, because it means if we have a quiet month where there isn't a whole lot of live streaming news content.
It sounds like a problem for central control. I mean, you don't know how often I say that. That's my catchphrase. That is my personal catchphrase.
Sounds like a problem for central control. Sounds like a solution-based problem. All right. I use vMix Call to do video interviews. One guest only. What's the best way to set up multi-record and record, or multi-record only? Okay, so I would say that there is no difference between if you are multi-cording and you are recording one of your outputs, or if you are multi-cording and multi-cording one of the outputs. They basically operate the same. If you're multi-cording an output, it's effectively recording. And by that I mean you are completely rendering out a finished product in an output and then saving that, recording
Right.
that.
Right.
If you're just multi-cording inputs, then all you're doing is taking the rawest content that's coming in and multi-cording that, and that is far more efficient. You're not having to render out that content.
But
It's
vMix calls.
just the basic stuff that's coming in is getting stored quickly onto a drive.
Can't be
So
multi-corded.
wherever you can do that, if you don't need to do color correction and add titles or other assets to the shot, just multi-cording your content is good. All of that being said, multi-cording vMix calls is not a good idea. It's
have to
better
route
to
it to an
send that
output.
through an output and then record or multi-cord that output, because that will fully render the shot. It's because
Which limits you to
it's
3.
effectively an IP-based feed and will have mixed timing of frames, occasional frames missing, things like that might result in a poor multi-chord. But if you
Right.
send it through your output, it gets fully rendered, it gets sort of finished and complete and tidied up, and then you're storing that on your drive. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, now where is this Amazon delivery driver? Yes, that is a good question, Anders. We are all wondering that, and I'm going to be doing these ones for the rest of the afternoon if my SSDs don't turn up.
Did you buy it off Amazon or eBay?
I bought them off Amazon.
Okay.
I bought it off Amazon, and you were next to me.
Oh, that was the other one.
That's coming today.
The other one. The one that I wanted. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Sorry, we're being guarded because we don't want to share models on the show
That you
because we
haven't
don't want
tested.
you going out and buying anything until we've done tests. I hope you
Yeah.
understand that.
What do you get?
We don't want to give you positive or negative connotations to any hardware until we know for sure.
And,
Right.
and
That's why we're being
and
very.
if you want something fun, and if you want to kill 3 weeks of time and effort, just have a quick look into sustained write speeds of SSDs.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I think we need like a rant button because I feel like going on a rant. Are you ready for a rant?
No.
You're not ready?
I'm not allowing a rant.
Well, I don't care.
Hang on.
I'm going to do it anyway.
You need to stand up to me.
That's right. So I'm going to do it anyway. When you see an SSD and it says maximum speed is blah, right? So at the moment you can get some PCIe 5 SSD M2.
4-lane.
Amazing, right? Up to like
12,500
megabytes a second.
Megabytes or megabits per second. I can't actually remember.
Yes, I think they're megabytes a second.
It's huge.
Anyway, it's crazy, right? But that's a really, really short amount of time that it can hit those speeds. So for quick recording or doing stuff, loading up games and doing things in a very short period of time, you've got this really awesome cached memory that can do things at a crazy amount of speed. However, once you get past that cache and it kind of goes back to its regular memory, this is just all very generic, it drops. It severely drops, and it might go down as low as like below 1,000 megabytes a second.
Yep.
Like well below
less than
that, which is
10% of the claimed speed.
Correct, yeah. But do any of the manufacturers report sustained write speeds? No, they do not. So basically, you have to go through like all of this stuff and go through and check to see, okay, look, we've got a max speed, but what's actually the sustained write speed? So then you have to go to all of the review websites or run your own testing to see exactly what you're going to get out of it. And if you want to do it yourself, you obviously then have to go and buy how many hard drives? A number of hard drives in order to test all of this stuff out. So it's been a bit of a journey. We learn new things every day, which is good.
It's great.
It's good to learn things.
But the challenge is
somebody wants
that...
it. They don't want to hide the rant behind the green. So you
I don't have a soapbox, Cam.
You should. And I think I'm like blowing out the microphone too with my ranting.
A rant cam.
Basically, there's so many things that you kind of have to learn, didn't discover, and I don't know. It's been something else trying to go about finding sustained write speed, because vMix is sort of in a very unique situation where we want to be able to record a bunch of stuff, like you replay and doing multi-cording, like you spoke about before, at long periods of time with a lot of data, like constant data that's coming through. But no one really cares about that. So it's such a niche thing. It's the same with a lot of different things that vMix and other encoders care about.
PCIe cards.
No one else cares about. Like we want PCI Express lanes that are usable.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great to have the size of the actual PCI Express be the amount of lanes that it actually could support data on? Wouldn't that be crazy? So there's a number of different things that we kind of go over, and we've learnt quite a bit in the last few weeks regarding sustained write speeds for hard drives. And that's the end of my rant.
Last few months, I would say. This has been quite a journey for us. So yes, hopefully we'll have things to share down the track. Yeah. But basically we do have to sort of keep quiet about the technical details and the actual gear we're testing and things like that until we get to a place where we're really confident that what we're putting forward to you guys is a great solution for vMix.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Go back
Notice
to
they're wearing hoodies.
Back in it.
Because
Back in
it's
it.
cold.
Johnson has a database of disk
It's winter
performance.
there.
Yeah,
nice.
There's a number of them out there that we kind of reference. But it's that
good idea,
sustained,
Dan.
speed. And the what's that? What's the software? I can't remember the name of it. Somebody's asked. Jan's
talking
also
about
asked about testing.
Crystal Disk Mark
No,
and Crystal Disk
talking about
Info?
the other one.
The other one.
Can't remember the name of it. There is a piece of software that they developed at Intel like 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah. That got taken over and started being used by
I think that's
like
what
a
most
group.
of the
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank of all these websites I've looked at 100 times in the past. We like to actually run our tests on our stuff as well. So basically setting up something that's going to really thrash the hard drive, replay, multi-core, all that
Fortunately,
kind of
that is super easy for us to do.
stuff.
Yeah, they're
It's
like
very
in
easy for us
Florida
to run really, really heavy tests because we can just ask this
in
thing
winter.
to multi-core like crazy, like heaps of cameras, or we can ask it to replay really high-end stuff. And we just keep on looking for that, like, what's the break
Sweet
points
spot.
and where is our PC suffering, and what happens if we improve on that one element? Does it give you a big lift? Does it just get you to the next bottleneck? All of that stuff. So that's all happening in the background.
There you go.
I love it. I
That's
also
why
get
the reference
frustrated by it,
systems are
but
so important.
And this is another fun thing too. Like depending on how the motherboard's set up,
it's an irony that it is
You've
a
got-
fast SSDs that is stealing all the PCIe lanes.
so depending on what framework,
Yeah.
what CPU, and everything, the architecture that you're using. Like if you've got a high-end system, you've got plenty of PCIe lanes. But even then, if you drop one in one, it then negates 3 PCI 3, or you put it in 2, it drops the speed of 4, but like the fourth one, and it's
It was only today, or earlier in the day for Americans, and much earlier in the day for us here in Australia, that somebody reached out to us, putting forward a, it was called the Asus, I think it's the ROG Maximus Dark Hero, which is a motherboard, and it's the first time I've seen this. If it's got 2 really good PCIe slots. Sorry, I'm getting really technical right now, guys. But if you've got it's got 2 PCIe slots that will break down to 8 lanes and 8 lanes, which is the way that they typically work if they're both set up to go to the CPU, which is already pretty rare. But it's got those 2. And then it's got the M.2 drive, which is M.2_1, the main drive. That's PCIe 5. But if you use that drive, if you put something in there, it knocks out that PCIe lane entirely. The second one. So that's the first time I've seen it knocking out PCIe lane 2 completely, which is pretty bad. So yeah, something to be aware of. That is the AMD version. I'm not sure if there's a Dark Hero for Intel, but I was looking at the AMD version. So steer clear of that one, I would suggest, unless you can make it work. There are other M.2 slots on that motherboard, but I really didn't like that they did that. So yeah.
Someone's asking some questions.
What do we got?
I'm
All right,
trying to
guys.
piece it together.
Oh, it's a long one. Yep.
So it looks like they currently input at 1080-60, but they stream at 1080-30. 4K is for the future. We want to record locally at fully quality, but stream at 1080 for bandwidth reasons, and because YouTube compression kills it.
Yep. Okay.
So you can, I think somebody said we don't want to spend money on a 4K capture card if it won't work well. Well, if you want to record at 4K, you'll need a 4K capture card.
Yep.
You can try like the upscale. It's not gonna. You're gonna lose a lot. So you'd need a 4K capture card. A lot of people do that. They'll have 4K production and then they'll stream at 1080. We've done that in the past, maybe a couple of times. But yeah, that you would definitely need a 4K capture card and then stream at 1080. It's gonna look fine. Like you're gonna see the same sort of results as if you had a full 1080 production and then streamed it
1080.
1080, I guess. So, yeah.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
So were they recording the 4K content?
I don't know.
If you're recording the 4K content, I understand. But if you're not, take advantage of the fact that you don't need to have a 4K camera if you're doing a 1080p production at the outer end. The only benefit of doing 4K would be to digitally zoom around, or take advantage of the cropping capability of a 4K input.
Regions of interest.
Without fully understanding your workflow, it's hard to say. You can always reach out to us at support@vmix.com, like I always say, and we can give you some pointers.
So with this,
all right, last question, guys.
it will depend there's a lot of different factors. So you can drop us an email and we can have a look at a support report from your computer. If it's slow and laggy, I don't know exactly what that means, if it's dropping frames potentially. But things to look for would be the render time. If you don't have a GPU and you're trying to stream to 3 or 4 locations, or sorry, 3 locations in a record or something like that, then it's going to obviously slow down. So you would need to make sure you've got a dedicated GPU and using the hardware encoder, which now support up to, is it 8?
It supports 8. Yep.
Yeah, so you can do like multiple streams, multiple multi-chords, multiple records on a capture card that supports that. So yeah, if you don't have a GPU, that's probably going to be the issue. It's not going to be RAM or CPU. So yeah, drop us an email, support@vmix.com probably.
I'll just
or you
add
could stream
that
one stream to restream.
it is definitely not the vMix software. It's not a software issue. vMix is capable of doing a lot. You just need the hardware, the computer that it's running on, to be able to keep up with what you're getting it to do. So it's not the software.
Well said. Well said. And with that, we're going to break away from those guys. But wasn't that cool? They're really smart guys, and they do well. And I hope Heath will do more live demos. You know, and it's okay to practice a time or two in advance. You don't have to come into it absolutely cold. And I like the idea of having people call in or write in and say, "Can you demo this?" and kind of put him on the spot. That can be kind of fun, and you don't have to do it perfectly, and you don't have to win, and you may not be able to do it at all, but that's okay, because that's the real world, and that's the world that we all live in, whether we want to or not. Yeah, Ed's saying he likes the live demo. I like the live demo. Yeah. Well, we are going to close out this edition of Streaming Idiots, where we kind of horned in on the vMix Fun Time live show for July. Hope you enjoyed their show. If you joined us late, you can just run us back on YouTube, or you can go to YouTube and watch their show. But keep in mind, their show doesn't include the pre-show, doesn't include the post-show. So yeah. So I think let's do one more thing. This will be fun. I mean, your idea of fun and my idea of fun are probably totally different kind of places, but oh yeah, let's see. Let's try it here. Can we do it here? Hold on. There we go. All right, let's go back here for just a minute, and then we'll close out the show.
Things don't get any looser. Answering all of your questions, but only at our discretion. He's at the helm, having a go. Don't worry, it ain't his first rodeo. Having a good time, feeling the flow. It's the vMix Fun Time Live Show. Do we have a script? Nope. Is anybody in charge? Not a hope. Where'd the Martin guy go? Don't know. vMix Fun Time Live Show. He's at the helm, having a go. Don't worry, it ain't his first rodeo. Having a good time,